Hey, what's up, y'all? Just want to make this video because I've seen in a couple comments that people have noticed that I drive Lyft. So I actually want to talk about my experience of driving Lyft. So I stay in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's where I normally drive Lyft at. And so based off of this vehicle, being a 15 GS350, it qualifies actually as a Lyft LUX. And so I actually, drive Lyft on the weekends because going day to day, I'm not really feeling it that much because I work, and with working, I just don't feel like driving Lyft. And so I got my dog Paul here. He ready to go to the park. But so let me talk about what I like and what I don't like about Lyft. First thing I like about Lyft is how you can get paid pretty quickly if you make over $5.50. Generally, on a Friday, Saturday night is your busiest night, especially here in this market. Tulsa's not that big, but it does seem to. My truck's there we go. Tulsa's not that big, so Friday nights and Saturday nights are usually the best nights for me to drive Lyft. Other times, like maybe during the morning when I get off of work is when I can drive Lyft. I actually do have the lamp, but I don't keep it up, and I only keep that sticker in the back. I actually do have another sticker back here behind my sign, just in case anybody gets in the car and I don't have my lamp on. They can't see, and I am a Lyft driver. A couple things. When you're driving Lyft LUX, it's super important to keep your car clean, because if people are paying essentially like $3.25 a mile, they want to get in something they feel like, they're going to night on a night on the town with, or maybe if you're picking up some kids and they're going to prom and stuff like that. Stop, boy. He needs to be patient. His name is Paul, by the way. Paul is a half Doberman, half healer, and I've had him since he was a puppy. Anyways, back to the whip. So whenever people normally get in my car, I try to keep everything nice and clean. People really do like presentation. I do keep smell good in there because you be getting certain people, like especially on a night, Friday, Saturday night, you start picking up the drunks, and you be getting funky people. And couple drawbacks, at least for me, because I'm a Lyft LUX driver. People do expect a smooth ride. I recently put these royals on my car. If you look at any of my other videos, they actually belong to my homegirl, and I just needed something to put on because my other tires were showing a little bit tread, and or they were showing low tread, and so my tires that I ordered haven't came in yet, so I slapped these on. 20-inch wheels. I think they're 245 45 or 235 45 19s. Yeah, 245 35 20s. Sorry. So anyways, the ride can be kind of rough based off of this vehicle. So man, they have this car has 3 different modes. It has the economy, it has sport, and then sport plus. And if you see my other video on this car, like the review, the sport plus basically stiffens up the suspension. So these wheels have the opportunity to rub, but I actually haven't driven Lyft with these wheels on since I recently just put them on. Come here, let me fix you. Okay. So anyways, yeah, back to what I like about Lyft. You get to meet some interesting people. Some people really have some really good stories to tell. Other people are quiet. Pet peeves. I do not like people sitting in the front, especially if you're drunk. I do ask people to sit in the back. I'm just not a fan of people sitting next to me while I'm driving, unless it's a female. Let's be honest. Females are generally a little bit more well behaved than a drunk dude. I do notice that certain guys get in the back and certain guys get in the front. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just I prefer people getting in the back, just all around. And sometimes the Lyft app will get you generally close to the person. Other times people will actually be completely away from where the Lyft says that you're supposed to pick them up at. So let's say you pick them up at a house over there, but they'll actually have a marker that will show them being possibly way down there. And so generally you would have to look at the location marker instead of actually the pickup location. Now, I've taken this car to Dallas over the weekend, since Tulsa is about 4 hours away from Dallas. Now, driving Lyft in Dallas is amazing because it is consistently busy, and you get paid, of course, by the mile. While I was down there, I did not get any Lyft LUX rides, and that's what I will say. Being a Lyft, if you have a luxury vehicle, and you set your Lyft to basically Lux only, you can pretty much guarantee you're not going to get any rides for a while. People, you know, for the most part, are not willing to pay $3 a mile to ride somewhere where they can ride this, you know, for, I think it's like maybe 35 some cents. And so I think I've probably, since I've been driving Lyft for about 4 months, I've probably given maybe 5 luxury rides, and generally that's picking up or taking people to the casino. People, you know, if I guess they hit it big, or if they want to show up in style, they will pull up in this. But because my car is a luxury car, when I pick up the average Joe, number one thing is, man, this is a nice car, because generally, you know, Lyft cars look like that, or a Chevrolet Cruze. You know, perfect example right there. Just those are normal Lyft cars, not Lyft Lux. And so when people get in my car, they generally do like it, and that actually, by having a clean car all around, you know, and smelling good, almost guarantees that, you know, when they want to go tip you, because they've enjoyed their ride and they felt like they got, you know, ridden around in style, you make up for actually being like, you know, having a luxury car but not getting that luxury pay in tips. So I remember I picked up a dude who literally was probably towards the end of that block where that gray vehicle is, and he needed to go possibly way down there to this park that we have, and it was literally like a $5 ride. Well, it's $2.50, because, you know, you're a minimum that you'll get paid, whether if I pick somebody up and I take them a block, it's $2.50. So his ride only cost $2.50, but he gave me a $10 tip because, like I said before, the location where he was scheduled to be picked up was not where he was actually at. So that does happen from time to time. So I do like it in that way. Keep your vehicle clean. I keep smell goods in my car. I try to keep my trunk open. I noticed that on Saturday nights, you know, after the club crowd is done, then usually I start getting people who are ready to go to the airport. And so I have like a mini forest going on with all my trees and stuff. I mean, you never can have too many smell goods. People ask, like, do you need that many trees? I'm like, do you see how good it smells in here? And so presentation is really what guarantees your tips. And so just try to keep it as clean as possible. Now, let's get to pet peeves. Number one thing is people slamming my door. I can't stand it. I cannot stand people closing my, like slamming my door. You know, this is a 2015, you know, car retails about, you know, anywhere between 55 and 60 grand just based off of what options you have. There's no reason to slam my door like that old van over there. People get out and they boom, and that just irritates the hell out of me because, you know, show like a little respect for the vehicle. You know, I understand that the car might have light doors, but it's no reason to slam. You know, when people do that, it just really, you know, irritates me. I've even had somebody slam my door and they need another ride, and I've seen them, you know, try to call for another ride, and I'll actually just ignore the call. I mean, it might hit my acceptance rating, but honestly, I don't care. You slam my door, you don't ride in this car no more. You go slam somebody else's door, you know, because those are natural Lyft vehicles. That right there, those two are perfect Lyft vehicles. And so when you get in a vehicle like this and you start slamming doors and, oh, I didn't realize, well, that was your last time riding in this vehicle. And sorry, sometimes I get people, I remember I picked up this one woman. I'm not trying to judge or anything like that, but she was every bit, maybe she was like every bit of 400 pounds. And so the smell from this woman was atrocious. You know, she smelled like she was rolled in like bacon grease and cat piss. You know, it's just horrible. So, you know, I'm not going to front. I'm not going to say anything rude to the person, but I did start rolling down the windows. And as soon as she got out, I don't know if you saw, but it's very important that besides, you know, your car naturally smelling good, have some backup. You know, get you some spray. And leather seats are a plus. If you don't have seat covers, I would get seat covers. But because I have leather, if I need to roll off anything, I'll just immediately roll off. Come here, boy. I got to turn around. Okay. Get out the road. Come on. Sorry, it's windy. I do DoorDash from time to time. What you getting in my car? I do keep my smell goods or stuff to actually clean my seats. This actually works very well. tough stuff, people start stinking, I'll go ahead and spray my seat, and then I'll wipe it off, and then I have some armor all. And so I do keep tools and jumper cables, just little stuff in my car, just in case, you know, anything was to happen. But, you know, I drive a pretty solid car, so I usually keep the jumper cables just in case I run across anybody else who might need to jump. So people stinking, people drunk. I've had a woman say, well, and I picked her up, and I was calling her. I was like, well, your location is not where it says you are. And she was like, well, when I picked her up, she was like, I didn't realize you were black because you sounded white. I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? She was like, I'm just so surprised that you're black because you don't sound like a regular black guy. And so you'll get ignorant people from time to time. You know, you get them ignorants. And so I had to like shrug it off. But sometimes I remember I went to go pick up this one guy, and he was standing outside. So when you get somewhere, you tap to arrive. And so whack. All right, sorry. But anyways, so I went to go pick up this one guy, and when I picked him up, he was standing outside of the location. So I tapped to arrive. He looked at me. He's like, hey, my girlfriend's inside. She's coming. So Lyft gives you 5 minutes. And so as we're waiting the 5 minutes, you know, it started counting down. So the girlfriend came outside, and they started arguing. And I rolled down my window, and I was like, hey, man, you know, I'm about to mark you as a no-show. And he was like, don't mark me as a no-show. I'm right here. And so he went back to arguing with this girl. 5 minutes was up. I hit no-show, and I drove off. I'm not about to stand outside and listen to you argue with your girl, and then y'all think y'all gonna get in my car with that. You get 5 minutes to get in the car. After 5 minutes, I'll leave. And so I have no problem leaving people when it comes to that certain situation. You know, 5 minutes is up, because let's be honest, because this car takes premium only, you know, me taking you a couple miles is not actually beneficial to me. I will say that's another issue I have with Lyft. Sometimes it will take me 15, 20 miles away from my starting point just to take somebody a mile down the road. So I actually waste gas taking somebody somewhere. I mean, I'm not going to, if I had a choice, I would not drive, you know, 15 miles to take somebody a mile for $2.50. That's a complete waste for me. And so you can't choose your, you know, who you want to pick up or your distance. Sometimes they'll have scheduled pickups, and oh, he's getting impatient. So sometimes they'll have scheduled pickups where you'll pick up somebody, but it'll kind of show you the rate that you might get. But other times, or a good chunk of the time, you just can't see who you'll pick up. So it's better to either stay busy or not on there at all, unless you have a very fuel efficient vehicle. You know, Prius is probably great, but driving in Dallas was probably, I made $200 within 12 hours. So that was really good. Most of the time it was driving people back and forth to the airport. So it does depend based off of your market. And because I use premium, I try to use 100% gas, real gas, instead of the ethanol blend. And so, you know, that's kind of like my little take on Lyft. Lyft LUX is good when it pays out. Sometimes I can take somebody like 15 minutes, and that's a $30 trip. I mean, and that works out for me very well, because $30 will put a good chunk of gas in my car. Other times it feels like I'm just driving Lyft to put gas in my car, and that's not beneficial whatsoever. So, but anyways, that's my Lyft story. I'm gonna go ahead and get to walking Paul. But if you have any questions on Lyft, I would, you know, I kind of recommend it. If you like getting out, if you like meeting, you know, kind of new people, you never know what stories you'll hear. But be aware, you'll get people who will slam your door. You'll get people who stink. You'll get alcoholics. I mean, you'll get a different array of people. So keep in mind that in the back of your head whenever you do that. And remember, everything is, you know, you will have to eventually pay taxes on it. I don't know how much money I've made so far, but I know I've made almost a couple thousand. So it does help, you know, if I want to buy some extra parts for my vehicle. But any questions, just leave them in the description below, and I'll try to keep a couple more stories coming from time to time. All right, y'all. Peace.